Welcome everybody to episode, I'm not even sure what episode it is, but we're doing a special episode of Sanj Surati Talks, and we're doing it in partnership with the wonderful Paddington Works Studios. I've got the man, the myth, the person that is in charge of Paddington Works Studios. Please welcome to the stage, Henry.
Wow, that was an introduction. I mean, I feel really important now.
You are very important, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing actually really great, to be honest with you. Everything's gone really smoothly so far. We're actually have got quite a lot of business.
Awesome.
Even during COVID times. So yeah, I feel great.
Awesome. All right. Well, look, I want you to talk to us, to talk to the people that are listening to this, to tell them who you are and what you're about.
Who am I? Right, so my name is Henry Dymott. I am a producer, studio manager and studio engineer here at Paddington Works Production. I manage the studios on the day-to-day. I actually built the studios from conception through to completion. And yeah, that's really what I do in a very kind of simplified way of putting it. Cool.
And just talk to the people about Paddington Works Studios.
So we're a modular studio. We're based just 5 minutes from Paddington Station or Edgeware Road Station. You just walk down and we're right there. So we have 4 spaces here. We have Live, which is the room we're in right now. This is our podcasting suite. This room is tailored specifically for audio recording. So anything you want to do in here, we've got podcasting. We have voiceover artists. We have Foley to the extent. We also have artists who want to come and do their top line melody recording here. We also have very high quality microphones recording instruments in here as well. We have our floating vocal booth, which is behind the camera. I would show that off, but it's very cool.
I do like that. So those of you who are listening on the podcast, you don't have any visuals, but there's like this thing that's kind of hanging from some like wires you can kind of pull down, and it's really cool. And those of you that are watching this on YouTube, hey, welcome. Look at this. We're here.
This is the room. This is the vibe.
This is the vibe.
This is live.
This is happening, all right? This is good. And we've got Henry, all right? And he's awesome. So talk to us about Paddington Works Studios with regards to how long it's been here. Like, how did you hear about it? How did you get involved?
So we're probably a month in now, I would say, maybe. I got involved back initially it was conceptualized probably the seed was planted in February. And then obviously I went on holiday in March. I went on holiday for my birthday. Actually, I went to Krakow, and then I came back and the world had changed.
Whoa.
The world had changed forever.
COVID.
Yeah, exactly. We were all just partying and having a great time, like, woo. And then we come back and then boom, COVID. I'd already had the conversation about these spaces before in February. And before this, they were just they weren't really getting much use. They were just editing suites. So I started work straight away, the concept of turning them into a fleet of studios that work together as a big, kind of production house.
Yeah. And how long has that journey been? Like how long since you came? You came back March, did you say?
March. So let me just get my bearings. April. So from May. So May, June, July, August. So everything kind of got drawn up. The designs, the tech spec, all the acoustic work we had to go into these rooms. So about 4 months.
Awesome.
4 months work.
And what sort of clientele do you get in here at the moment?
So at the moment, very much mainly podcasters. We've actually partnered with a company called podcast.co.
Wow.
They're great. They're based up in Manchester. So they've got studios up in Manchester, New York, and we are now their London studio.
Wow. Okay.
We have a variety of other kind of clients. We've got some artists and producers who like to use the spot in this room, the control room, and also Rhodes is quite popular with a lot of creative artists.
Yeah.
We've had a boxing podcast here quite recently.
Wow.
They're starting. We've had 2 guys from Love Island here. We've had some quite interesting people, really. Literally yesterday, we had a guy here who it's quite interesting. He was a traveller. Like a really well travelled guy, and he does a lot of writing about it.
Right.
He does like really cool like writing, and so he was doing a podcast with some guy in Amsterdam. So we were facilitating the recording of that as well. But yeah, we've had quite a few people from different walks of life come through.
Awesome. So just with regards to these studios, is podcasting the kind of your aim market wise?
At the moment, I'll give you the slogan. So it's production Production, editing, and podcasts.
Okay. The reason why I asked that is, I've been working within the music sector for a long time.
Yeah.
And the recording side of the industry has had some huge problems.
Oh, definitely.
Because of the way human behaviour has changed and people like to record and stuff back home.
I mean, you can do it all from a laptop now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the podcasting world has kind of just gone into the stratosphere.
Skyrocket.
And it's still in its infancy, even though it's been around for about 10 years.
I mean, it's only really just started picking up on major platforms like Spotify.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's Apple Podcasts. There's other things. There's other platforms out there.
Warner Chappell have just launched their podcast division. Sony Music have just launched their podcast division, like really focusing. Yeah. So it's changing.
Yeah, well, interestingly, like 1 in 5 Spotify users are listening to podcasts. That's a massive amount of the market.
Yeah. And even for us, I mean, the Sanj Surati Talks podcast, it's just something that I set up over COVID, and it's just opened so many doors. Because so many people are listening to it.
People need content.
Yeah. So is that your aim?
The aim, I mean, when we were coming up with it, we knew the podcasting was going to be, it was the thing.
Yeah.
So we had that, it was kind of, not the forefront, but it was definitely there. But since we've, been open, operating, it's definitely been, I would say at least, I'll give you a figure, probably like 60% of our bookings are podcasts.
Awesome.
And that's, that's including like visual editing, that's including voice work and musicians. So
incredible.
It's quite a lot of it.
So talk to us about you. So you started working here this year.
Yep.
What's your background? Where have you come from? Like, what did you like? How did you get into sound?
Right. Yeah. So I actually got into sound from a really young age. I actually started, how most people start, with an instrument in school. So
what was that instrument?
I'll throw it out there. So I started with the clarinet.
Wow.
Shout out to Lauren, who was my clarinet teacher all the way through from, I think, year 6, I want to say. That's when I got back to UK. Yeah. So year 6 through to definitely year 11, year 12. So then I picked up the guitar, as people do, because I wanted to be cool. So I started playing guitar, got to quite a high standard with guitar. And now
you still play guitar?
Yeah, I do. I have too many guitars, man.
What's your favourite guitar
that I have?
Yeah.
I have an original 1980s Fender Mustang.
Wow.
And it's like, but most Mustangs now, they come with the stripe. I have the one that has the original stripe.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you get hold of that?
Luck. It was one of my first picks as a guitar. It was like a big present. I was in a guitar shop. I'd had my first guitar, and it was like a NAF guitar. No offense. It was a NAF guitar I had. And I really wanted this horrible big black thing. It was called a War Beast, because I was really into metal. I was a real little goth kid. And basically there was the Mustang on the rail, and the guy who owned the shop was like, "Mate, try this." And my dad was like, "Try that." And luckily I tried it and went for it, and now it's my baby. Wow. I love it. It's got sentimental value to it as well now.
Yeah.
Never get rid of that. So then I went on from there. Fast forward down the line, I got a laptop, which is what started my route into music production. Started off with Logic. I actually started off with, and then I moved on to Ableton Live, and I actually got into doing a lot of finger drumming, beat making, things like that. And I went by an alias for a while. I went by Elision, and I actually did a lot of shows up and down the country.
What type of music was Elision?
Genre flippant is how I used to describe it. It would go from very chill to quite hard hitting. I used to work with a lot of rappers. I used to work with quite a lot of different artists, and then from there it kind of moved into DJing. So then I DJed quite a lot around Guildford, London, Southampton, over in Spain.
Wow.
Things like that. And then, while that was going on, really, production was always happening. And then I've never had a job that really isn't music based.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. So what would you call yourself?
What would I call myself?
Yeah.
Now I'm a production manager. And,
but you still produce?
I still produce. Yeah, always producing.
Awesome. But yeah, so you consider yourself production manager, producer, writer. When you came here to the studio, what was your task?
My task was basically to completely change the rooms completely. So before, I mean, I don't know if you ever saw them before. I maybe attach some photos for you. But it was completely just white walls. I mean, the only thing we really kept was the foam on the ceilings.
Okay.
And then I just basically came in, we sorted out the acoustics. So now we have a lovely tuned room. I sorted out all the equipment, sorted out the design, functionality, and all the, kind of the marketing, branding, kind of turning it into what it is now.
Yeah. And so let's talk about the branding. So Paddington Works Studios is kind of like a sub-brand of Paddington Works, right?
Yeah, so we're called Paddington Works Production, and we have 4 studios here. So we have live, edit, Rhodes, and control. So each of them kind of function so the kind of idea is, the concept is, almost think of it as like the IKEA wardrobe of studios. You have the kind of base, each kind of thing, and you kind of can choose how they kind of slot together in different ways.
Yeah.
So for example, we're in live right now, but we're using control, to do this. We could just use this room. It functions independently. We could record either onto an SD card straight away. Oh, okay. We can record onto your laptop, or if you want to spread the signal through to the computer, through into all of our lovely outboard, we get a nice crisp sound, then that's what we're doing right now. So it's the same function with downstairs. We have Rhodes, which is our creative suite. That's kind of more for creative artists, writing. We have an original Rhodes down there. It's a Stage Mark II, all voiced, all tuned. Sounds beautiful, man. But again, that works as a live room if you connect it up here with control.
Yeah.
So then we have Edit, which is its own kind of entity. It's purely for visual editing, color grading. It's a lovely, comfortable space that you can just kind of, you can just refine your visuals. That's the kind of what we wanted. We wanted to be relaxed, but also, keep your focus. Right?
Awesome. What was the challenge when you came here? Like, what were you worried about?
The doors. For me, it was actually just it was the soundproofing for me, because we're a shared space here. That was the concern, is what if we do all this hard work and then people can still hear us, or we can still hear them.
Yeah.
As you can hear right now, we did a good job.
Yeah.
We're dead to the world in here.
I mean, acoustically, it feels like you're in a bubble.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that was the other part of it as well. I didn't want to just kind of go and get your bog standard acoustic materials, because I just wanted to have a bit more of a different look here. We've got these lovely panels on the wall here.
Yeah. Those of you watching on YouTube, you can see them.
So we have some lovely kind of wavy panels on the wall. We've got kind of a spread out kind of surface area. I won't go into the maths with you. I'm not a mathematician myself. And then we have some diffusion panels on the wall, which are made out of like recycled natural cork. So like they come from like a wine place. So like all the wine cork bottles that are left over.
Wow.
They're made out of them.
Those ones there.
Exactly, those ones there. So they're cool, aren't they?
They are
cool. Supposed to like look like a desert.
Yeah.
Kind of waves of the desert.
I do find that this studio has got like an exquisite vibe to it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a little bit more kind of, I don't want to say funky, but it's got some things to it. Like obviously as you can see, we're kind of suspended from the ceiling. There's no real trailing wires.
Yeah, because it's different.
Yeah,
it's very different.
That's what I wanted it to be neat and tidy. I wanted to feel good in it.
So, just with regards to your experience before you came here, what other studios have you worked at?
So I went straight from, while I was actually studying at uni, I went to ACM in Guildford. So in my second year, this is when I started my business. So I actually started my company. I was doing sound design. So I started doing sound design for various kind of small time, little things here and there. And then I got my first big kind of client, which was Escape Hunt UK and Australia. So they made escape room games. So that's how I first got into the kind of going into rooms and how things should sound.
Wow.
So I went to the rooms, checked it out, and would compose the original music for the games, all the sound effects, record the voice artists, all that kind of fun stuff. And then it would come together in this kind of immersive experience. And that's kind of what started me on that kind of like, I love doing this. This is great. And then from there, I did a few kind of odd bits here and there. I did some stuff for like a robot once. That was quite cool. So it was like this big scary robot. And then I actually met for lunch once Jan Supernova from Radio 1 Extra. And she put me in contact with one of the guys who owns Pirate Studios, now branded as Pirate. So I actually got the opportunity to go and kind of like I had almost like a shadow day there once.
Yeah.
And from that, I ended up being the producer and artist liaison for a lot of the pirate live shoots. So that's where I started my role as a producer in terms of, kind of like the live stream. I had a small team that we would kind of be like, this needs to go here. I'd manage with the artists, so I did a lot of liaising with them, label reps, things like that. And then I carried on doing that for a bit. And then we kind of went on a little hiatus, and it was like, is this going to keep going? Is this going to continue? So at that point I was like, look, I've got stuff I need to do. I've got things I need to do. So I actually started working for a company called Future DJs after that. So that was obviously my other passion in life is DJing.
Yeah.
So that was great fun for a bit. We just kind of we actually went to schools and kind of taught kids how to DJ.
Wow.
So we would set up, and I would just DJ. They would do the talking. I didn't like doing the talking, unsurprisingly. But yeah, so I would just DJ in front of big assembly halls for all the kids, and they'd love it because it's like the coolest things ever come into their school. And yeah, from that, this was next after.
So how did you find out about Paddington Works?
How did I find out about Paddington Works?
Yeah, how did this gig occur?
Like everything in my life, absolute luck. Literally, I literally stumbled my way in here. I had a meeting with Simon, who basically owns the building. I then met Lulu, who's now she's like the site manager for Paddington Works. And I basically told them what I do, what I'm about, people I've worked with, what I've done before, and I think they just kind of liked it. They liked that I kind of knew what I was doing to that extent, and were like, these rooms need sorting, and here we are today.
I mean, one thing I would say, particularly in this industry, like the entertainment industry, whether it's music, film, TV, there is an element of luck. Like, yes, you've got to be talented.
You've got to make your own luck.
Yeah, you've got to be entrepreneurial.
You've got to network.
Yeah, you've got to take chances. You've got to speak to people.
That's why COVID's been so in a way, you've got to change the way you network. So I used to love going to all the events at tile yards. I'd look on Eventbrite for networking events. I go to gigs, all the stuff. Network with people from my own shows. But now it's like everything is LinkedIn, the dots, all those kind of networks.
Yeah. So let's talk about COVID. How has COVID affected this building?
How has COVID affected Paddington Works as a building? Yeah. So, as you walked in today, Sanj, I don't know if you clocked, but you would have been scanned by the thermal camera. And that would have kind of gone, if there was any issues, you would have had the alarm go off. So you didn't. So first of all, that's okay. We've got these copper alloy stations everywhere. They were custom built by basically the guy who does all the metal work here, because all the metal's kind of done. It's all kind of designed and then done in house almost. Yeah. So that's been done with all the hand sanitizer. They changed the air in here. It's crazy. I mean, this is such a coincidence though. The kind of aircon we have in here was already installed beforehand that did kind of the virus stuff. So we've got some Philips air purifiers everywhere. I say some, it's 53 or something now. Right. Don't quote me on that statistic. But there's been so much put into this, and these rooms as well. That was another thing we wanted. That's why we're open. We wouldn't be open if we weren't sure that you would be safe in here. Yeah. These rooms get this Sally Swist constantly, and what I say by that is it fogs the room with a special kind of antivirus stuff. Wow. I'm not a scientist. But it sorts you out. We have the air purifiers in here as well. You have that's cleaning all the time. And we're just sensible, but we're also, we're just kind of getting on with it. Yeah.
And then just with regards to you as a production manager here, how has COVID affected you?
So COVID meant I moved. So I made the move to London during COVID.
Where were you living before?
I went from living in Guildford, went back to where I used to live, which was up Northamptonshire. Oh yeah, so I was living there for a little bit. We were commuting down to London, and then it was like, this just isn't viable. And because obviously COVID was so weird, me and my girlfriend, we actually got a place we didn't even see it. We weren't allowed to go view it. Yeah. This is how nuts it was. We saw it, we were like, oh God, we love it, we can't let it go. So we literally just put it down and then came down. And we view it after kind of paying for it, which is kind of nuts.
Yeah. Whereabouts in London?
Oh, so I live literally just between Krakow and Wilson Green.
Oh, okay.
So from here, like just hop on the Jubilee line and I'm here, or I can walk to work. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Not saying I walk every day, but I can. You know, that's the kind of. It saves me so much time now, and I love living in London.
Awesome.
I love London.
Awesome.
I loved London before, but now it's like you're always there, always about.
Absolutely. So, you went to ACM.
Yep.
I used to do a lot of work with it. When I was at Music Week, I used to do a lot of features on like education and music.
Oh, cool.
I used to do a lot of work with ACM. What did you get from ACM with regards to how you are as a professional now? Like, how did that experience benefit you?
So at ACM, I really enjoyed my time at ACM.
What did you study there?
I did the course. It was the creative artist course. So it was kind of like, it was almost like a pick and choose your own degree to an extent. So we had different modules. Yeah. So it was kind of like the jack of all trades, master of none. But it was great. So I did like a bit of songwriting, a lot of producing. That's also where I kind of learned a lot of my producing skills, because I was always around other producers. I'd get access to some pretty wicked setup studios, and I was always doing something. I always said yes to everything. I mean, I remember one of my first DJ sets that wasn't, using my own controller. I'd never used a CDJ before. I'd never done, a club set before. I'm admitting some stuff to you now. But you know what I said to them? Yeah, of course. And what happened? I ended up playing all the time. And now, do I know how to use CDJs like the back of my hand? Yeah. And it's all about just kind of, if there are opportunities there, take it.
Yeah.
ACM offered some really great opportunities, but it's also the people you're around that create the opportunities for you.
So just with regards to any advice to anyone that wants to get into this line of work that you're in, what would you say to them?
Always say yes. Just kind of always stay on top of what's coming out as well. Like if there's some interesting new bit of kit, if there's something that, just always follow what interests you. Don't, just because someone else is doing something at the moment, don't copy it for the sake of it. If you're not enjoying it, then you're not going to get much out of it, because people can tell if you're being genuine or not.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's like when we talk about when we're talking with Shona about social media. People aren't stupid. They can tell if you're not being genuine or not. But let's touch on you just briefly. So you talked about this thing. Just follow what you're interested in.
Yeah.
What interests you?
What interests me at the moment? I would say design. Really, that's really what I mean. I feel like I love audio. I've always loved audio. I've loved music, sound, anything like that. Really, just kind of. I feel like my brain clicks with.
Yeah.
I wish I knew how to like do things like 3D render, modeling of rooms. So this project that I've done has made me realize I actually really enjoyed the kind of design and project management side of this kind of work a lot more. So I can see myself down the line doing a lot more of this, the designing of studios.
So that's the next stage for you.
I mean, at the moment, I think so, but I changed like the winds. I could be. I mean, I tried to make a game during lockdown. I started playing around with Unity and a bunch of other softwares, but I'm no coder. Let's say that.
Awesome. And then just with regards to the art form of sound design.
Yeah.
What's your perspective on it?
So I think when people say sound design, there's a few things that pop to mind. I mean, there's synthesis, which a lot of people are really highly skilled at. Me, I am more, I'd say I'm better at Foley and like audio manipulation. That's my kind of skill when it comes to like audio design. I'm good at synthesis, but I know where my strengths lie. I know that I'm a better producer from a standpoint of I'm better at recording, mixing, getting things to kind of sound, right. Whereas someone who's, from their perspective, they can make a massive, big dance track, I mean, I've got friends who, if I need that done, I'll contact them, we'll work together, because you can't be a master of everything.
Yeah.
You got to kind of work to what it is you're doing.
Absolutely. And we're also like in an age of collaboration.
Yeah.
Which is really important. So you suggest, or I think we all suggest, if you get a chance to collaborate with people.
Yes, because it's always about your network, your own personal network. I think it's important to like maintain relationships, which is something I feel like I'm quite good at within the industry, and I would say that it's kind of affected how well I get on with my friends. Sometimes I could neglect my friends because I'm always thinking about what's next in terms of, business side of things or making music side of things. I need to kind of focus on that as well sometimes.
Awesome.
For me.
Okay. So, Henry, you touched on it before. You were talking about your friends, that you've been neglecting your friends.
Oh, God.
So just talk to us about that. You mentioned that sometimes business takes over.
Yeah.
And you start to neglect things that you feel you shouldn't neglect.
Yeah.
How do you overcome that?
I haven't. I'm just really bad at texting is not my thing. I'm very much a call person. If I want to get in touch with someone or they want to get in touch with me, just call me. I'm really bad at replying to non-business related texts.
So I noticed that every time I emailed you, I would never hear anything from you forever.
You have to call me. Call me, man.
I used to get really upset about it. Like I was telling my wife this morning, I was like, this guy hasn't got back to me.
Mate, but it's not me. I get so many emails.
I'm only joking, mate.
If you did email me for studio time, you would have been at the top of the list of replies. So that's probably why.
I'm only joking, mate. I'm only joking. So you talked about being a musician. You were into metal bands for a while. Were you actually in a band?
I was in a band. I was not in a metal band.
Okay.
Because I never bought the Warbeast. Okay. So I was in your classic kind of indie cover band to start me off when I was quite young. I was still kind of.
And that was that with your Fender?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had that bad boy for time.
Okay.
And then I was playing for more as a backing guitarist for artists.
Wow.
And doing that. And then I kind of put the guitar to the side, and it was more the kind of electronic instruments, and it was I used this thing called a midifier, it's like a arcade buttons.
Yeah.
So I kind of beat drum with this hand, my right hand. So my thumb is always my kick drum.
Yeah.
My index finger is my hi hat, and my sweary finger is my snare. So generally it's boom, tss, tss. That's kind of always rocking, and this time just kind of is various samples. And then I would, sing, rap, invite other artists to come over the top of it.
Wow.
And that's how I did most shows if I was playing as me or for other people. And then, beside that would be DJing.
Awesome. And so just with regards to guitar,
Yep.
Are you ever going to go back to it?
I always pick it up. I use it a lot for layering my own samples.
Yeah. And I guess you use it to write?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't write with... I can't write about a guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many guitars do you have?
At my new place, 5, which isn't that many now, but
and in real life, tell me. Tell the world.
Unlucky 13. I think I have 13 guitars in total.
Okay, talk me through all of them.
All of them. Well, so
Please don't swear.
My Mustang.
Okay.
I have my Eric Clapton signature Strat.
Yep.
My ESP Extone PC2V.
Yep.
I have my Taylor.
Yep.
Which my acoustic Taylor.
Yeah.
I have a bass. I actually don't know the make of my bass. It's a gift from my parents because I really wanted to start learning to play bass.
Yeah.
They got me bass. It was great. I've got another Fender acoustic. I have my lap steel, which is it's really cool. It's great. I've got a proper weighted because it's kind of really old, this lap steel.
Can you play it?
Yeah, kind of.
Wow.
Yeah, not to a high standard, but I used it for shows and things.
Oh, wow.
But I've got the weight thing that's with it, the slide. It's really heavy. It's made out of lead, so you can't really buy them anymore. I think it's illegal. I don't really know. So where am I? So yeah, my lap steel. Then we have the Telecoustic, Fender Telecoustic, and then we're getting into some the older ones. My first ever guitar was this Les Paul, pretend Les Paul. Which was good, did its thing. Then I had a Court, still got that lying around. And I can't remember the last one.
Okay.
There's some more, but I can't remember them.
Okay.
I had a 12 string.
You had a 12 string?
The Tanglewood 12 string. Shout out to Tanglewood.
And then in your place at the moment, what 5 guitars did you bring with you?
So I've got my Mustang, my Eric Clapton signature, my ESP Extone, PC2V. And then I've got the Taylor, of course, and I've got the bass guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And can you play bass?
I'm pretty good at bass. I'm not the best.
Okay.
But I'm honest.
Hey.
If you need a bassist, I can be your guy. I'll be cheap if you want me to play bass.
I think I think Paddington Works should have a theme tune. I think you should write the theme tune and sing the theme tune.
That is not a good idea.
Oh, gosh, no. So you went to ACM, sorry.
SAS.
SAS. Before you went to ACM, where did you go?
Before I went to ACM, I went to... So I actually went to school before... We're going back now. I went to normal school, like how people do. So, and then when I was about year 4, I think, probably around then, I actually moved to America. So I actually went to school in Minnesota for a little bit.
Minnesota?
Yeah, Minnesota.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Minnesota weather for you, that's what we used to say. Because it used to be so snowy there. I used to go to school in these thick, they called them snow pants. And the big snowshoes, the like tennis rackets and things. And I'd get in, we'd have a good 15 minutes just taking off all the layers just to go in for a...
How old were you when you moved there?
So I would have been in the 5th grade, is that how they call it?
Yeah.
So I went to school for the 5th grade, and then I was homeschooled for a year because we just went kind of traveling around America, which is awesome. I would love to go back. Then I came back to the UK and went through like the main normal school system.
How old were you when you came back?
So I was only in America. So I went to school there for a year and traveled for 2 years.
Oh, okay. So why was that? Was that just because your family wanted to travel?
Yeah, so I think probably because my dad had a job out there.
Okay.
I think he was basically like, it's probably really dumbing down what he did, but it was like almost Homer Simpsoning. It was literally like, think of nuclear power plants and fun stuff like that. He was like the Homer Simpson on site.
Okay.
So and then when I came back, just normal kind of school in Northampton. Yeah. And then I went to 6th form in Sharnborough. That was fun.
Where's that?
That's more Bedford.
Okay.
So like similar kind of area to Shona.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah.
So did that and then straight to uni.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then you touched on your year travelling around the States.
Yeah.
How old were you then?
I must have been, I want to say, either 9 or 10.
Okay.
So, either 10 or 11 maybe. So it was kind of like a young boy's tale.
Yeah.
It was great fun.
And you said you loved it.
Loved it.
What was the best place you visited on that trip?
Oh, man, because it wasn't just one trip. Like, I think I've probably done like 36 states, something nuts like that. Probably seeing some moose with my mum. That was awesome. The Grand Canyon, always cool. Yellowstone. Wow. Everyone should go to Yellowstone at least once.
Wow.
I remember once going to this town, right? And there was a sign. It was in the middle of nowhere, this bit on, and the sign said population 5. Literally, and there was like signs from like for cowboys wipe the shoes, all this. Just seeing all the cool animals, man. I feel like we have really underwhelming animals. Like we don't have anything cool. We don't have anything. I've never seen an adder, which is like the poisonous snake.
I've seen adders. Yeah.
You've seen one?
Yeah.
Don't rub it in. Do you know what I mean? But like when it comes to things like that,
it's not the same as a rattlesnake.
No, it's no. Yeah. Mate, talking about rattlesnakes, we were in Death Valley, and there was a rattlesnake, and my dad was like, "Oh, should we just throw something at it, see if it move?" And we're like, "No." I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's just a bad idea. Bad idea.
Cool. So, what's next for you? So how long you been here? Like 8 months?
Yeah, roughly
8 months.
Around that. Yeah.
What's kind of your aim?
My aim is to make this. Well, I mean, as it's going right now, to make this one of the next kind of big spots for production in London. I mean, we're doing pretty well in terms of bookings. We've got some very nice kind of clients who come here. We're getting some bigger name people here as well. It's all about I just want to build this up because it's my baby now.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it here. I love Paddington. The area is so nice. And everyone who works here is really cool. All the other members here are great.
How are you currently canvassing for new clients?
Canvassing, loads of things. So we're doing a lot of SEO stuff, making sure that we're the top on things. Personally reaching out to people. I do a lot of literally just, boom, this is what we do, this is what we have here, to different agencies and things like that. And then just kind of word of mouth. I had a lot from our event, actually. So we had that launch event that actually you...
We did. So just to give you guys a bit of background, I did a bit of MCing for Paddington Works when they did this launch event for the studios.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of fun. We had some amazing artists.
We had some really cool artists there, man.
I forgot there was one chap. He had a band with him.
Oh, yeah. That was a guy called Keep Vibes Near.
Keep Vibes Near. If you guys get a chance, seriously, Google Keep Vibes Near.
Or you go onto our Instagram, Facebook, wherever, and we've actually got his live set.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you have. Absolutely incredible music.
Yeah,
like,
it's very wavy.
So good. And there was a couple of other artists there. It was really amazing event.
Yeah.
I find me being an old man, I get a little bit jaded about things, about everything. And when I heard you guys were launching a studio, in my head I had this kind of my mind was still in the old mindset of where studios are.
Yeah.
And it was just so refreshing to come here to see there were so many people here, all like really excited to be here.
It was a great event.
There was like DJ workshops, there was like podcasting workshops, there was a really big, there was like 100 people here, like 80 people here, something like that.
It was because we had to kind of, ticket sales went too crazy, and obviously because of COVID, we actually had to put a lot of people on a waiting list.
Right.
We had to keep maintained and keep social distancing. So that was a challenge in itself.
But you handled it so well because you had like there was the one-way system. There was lots of barriers.
We had a screen made to go in front of the singer, so there was no kind of, as he was getting a bit into it, nothing's going on to the audience.
Yeah,
we did lots of stuff like that.
It was incredible. But yeah, so you guys did this event, and that's been really good for you guys, right?
Yeah, it's been great, and also it's the content it's generated as well, because it's always good to have things. I've still got content from that event ready to go out. It's just picking the times, because if I gave that to everyone all at once, you'd be overwhelmed with it, because you'd be like, oh, I've seen that already.
So from a social media point of view, you think it's wise to drip feed your narrative?
Yeah, I think if, let's put this, if I put out 3 videos back to back from that event, your interest in that content by that time that third video's out is not going to be as interested as you were from the first one.
Yeah.
So I give you the first one. I talk about someone who's in the studio for the next one. I then showcase a bit of kit that we've got here or something. Boom, next video. You've got to space it out.
Awesome.
And that's the trouble I have with the kind of social side of it. Is I've put a little bit too much time into this social, not enough time on my own. I haven't posted anything on my personal one since June. I just haven't.
So I guess we're coming to the end of the chat.
Yeah.
It's been awesome having you.
Yeah, it's awesome having you down, man.
Mate, I just know that this bridge that we built is going to be positive, and there's going to be some great things happening. So I really, really value being here, really value your time. There's going to be a couple of people on here that want to contact you for a couple of reasons. One, because they want to meet you. And 2, because of Paddington Works.
Yep.
What's the best way to get in contact with you? And also, what's the best way to get in contact with Paddington Works?
Call me, but I'm not going to give you my number. If you email me, I'll give you my number. So either henry@paddingtonworks.com, or you can send an email to my business, which is ellisionsound. So that's ELLISION sound @gmail.com. You can follow myself on Instagram, which is Elision Music, spelled the same way. Or please follow Paddington Works Production on all socials. And reach out to me on our socials or just via email, and I'll give you my number.
Brilliant. Guys, first of all, thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, of course.
Really great to be here. It's really good to be doing a Sanj Surati Talks in a podcast studio as opposed to like over Skype.
It must feel nice as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Those of you listening, thanks so much for your time. If you get a chance, please do subscribe and share. Don't forget the hashtag Sanj Surati Talks, all one word. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, please be good. Sweet.